incredible wealth of knowledge and expertise in this area around college access and what it means for so many of our students across the nation right now, and families and schools really trying to just figure it all out, right? Like, especially our high school seniors, there's prom that's been canceled, but then beyond that, there's the whole transition to college and like what that looks like. And I think that a lot of schools, families, and students and principals are grappling with that. So that's really going to be the focus of our conversation, you all, is how do we ensure that we are supporting our high school seniors and all of our students who are in this transition to accessing the college that is right for them. But before we jump into that, Kaycee, Dr. Brock, I want to make sure for this talk, we say Dr. Brock, we're going to put respect on her name. And so, Dr. Brock, first tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do.
It's really interesting, and anytime I go into a room of educators, my favorite thing is to say I can relate to almost anyone in the room. I've been a teacher. I joined Teach for America in 2007. I see some TFA people in here.
Hey,
so I know that you're an alum. And I taught in Houston for 2 years, and then I moved to New York. And in New York, I taught for 3 more years, and the CEO of our company, she was like, listen, our students are not persisting through college. I know you don't necessarily have a background in that, but I would love to see if you can make something happen with them and help them figure out how to navigate that really tough space.
Wow.
A lot of the students were the first in their families to go to college, and a lot of them just didn't really know exactly what to do. And so I took that role, and that was my introduction into the college access and persistence space. I then became the director of that program. And then I worked for the New York City Department of Education and supported principals and counselors with college access work. Then I missed kids and I moved back into schools, and I was a school leader. And then now I work for KIPP Foundation, and, we're really proud of our KIPP Through College program. And we are working on a lot of things right now in response to COVID-19. But at KIPP Through College, I am essentially almost like a consultant for school districts. So what I do is I take all of our tools from KIPP and our resources, and I train school districts, traditional school districts, non-charter schools, on how to use them. So right now I work with 3 of the largest districts in the nation, and we're expanding and growing and continuing to share.
Wow. So you obviously have done the work from being on the front lines of education in the classrooms with
my former boss just joined. I'm sorry. And he's a principal.
No, hey, who joined? Let's say hi. Hey. Hey, everyone. For those of you joining in, thanks so much for joining, showing love. Let us know what city you're coming in from. Show some love. Gotta love it. So obviously you've been on the front lines of education. You've seen, from the leadership perspective, what that looks like. And you're doing this work around the country now with districts, with principals, with school counselors. ATL, Harlem, we see you. Charlotte, love, we see you. So Kaycee, what is that? I gotta get out of the habit. So what does that look like for you right now? Like, what has your experience been with the pandemic, with the school districts that you're serving? What has that experience been like? And what keeps coming up and resurfacing? Like, maybe what's weighing heavy on your heart?
Yeah, I think there's like a personal side to it and then a professional side, right? On the personal end, I guess I'm dating myself, but my former 6th grade students in New York, which wasn't my first teaching job, are seniors in college this year.
Wow.
And to know that they won't have a graduation or a traditional graduation. To know that many of them are the first in their family to go to college, to complete college. Many of them are going to incredible colleges that they worked so hard to get to know that they won't have that chance for themselves and their family to walk across the stage is really sad. Because as you know, many students are the first in their family to graduate from college. They're not just representing for themselves, right? They're representing for oftentimes for their community, for their family, for other students to be able to say, I can do that too. So I do hope that colleges are creative and flexible in finding alternative options for them. Maybe it is an end of fall graduation. Maybe they walk next year, but I do hope that they eventually get that opportunity. So it's really heavy on my heart, just watching them go through this and feeling so connected to it. I live by a train. My apologies in advance for that.
And it looks like that's resonating with a few folks. Like, I know that makes my heart so sad. And welcome to all the folks from Harlem, Charlotte, Durham, Bronx. We see a few people from the Bronx in here who joined as well.
Yeah, and I would say for school districts and for schools in general, I know there are some school leaders in here, and I think y'all are a really important audience for this. It's hard to figure out how to prioritize your time right now. And I think, especially if you're a school leader or a district leader in this work, I think it can be really tough to, you're trying to get students to come to virtual classes that they've never been to before. You're trying to get students and families engaged in a way that you never have before, and you have to be so creative. And so I think it's really hard right now to be in a school system or in a school and prioritize college access right now when you have so many other concerns. And that's heavy on my heart, because when you think about the cycle of a school year, this is actually such a critical time. And this is the time for those seniors to be able to make those decisions. And right now, they're doing it without a lot of guidance because they don't have access to that one-on-one support with their counselors. And so I'm watching school leaders and district leaders have a tough time making those decisions about how to utilize their guidance counselors and their college counselors right now.
So for all the school leaders who are on here, if that resonates with you, we'd love for for you to just put a heart in there or let us know, give us some feedback. Like, is that your experience? What else are you grappling with? We want to hear from you all and just create community during this live ad chat. So Kaycee, that's real right now, right? And so what is it that you have seen maybe some successes with, or maybe have seen school leaders do that has helped to bring this to light and has helped to prioritize this, or any suggestions that you may have?
Yeah, so I'm still seeing people have a tough time. It seems like school districts and schools that were a little tech savvy before are able to very quickly get on board. And it seems like the ones who weren't as tech savvy before are having the toughest time.
Right.
I think right now, utilizing technology is the most important thing and the easiest thing to do. Very easy things to implement. Just thinking about how can you reach the most students as quickly as possible and get as much information as possible.
Yes.
For example, for one district, I created a very easy Google form, right? You can make it in Microsoft too. I made a form. Basically, what students can do is put my name, the school I'm most likely going to attend, here's the cost of attendance, here's the net cost, send it to the counselor, spits out into an Excel file, right? Like, you've got to start doing things like that, because you're going to lose that personal touch. It's just going to happen. Some of the schools I work with, they have like a 1 to 1,000 ratio. 1,000 seniors and just them, right? And so doing Google Forms and Excel files and investing in like that technology is really important. There's also online match tools and online resources for college access that are really helpful. I don't know if I should name any right now, but Overgrad, Scores, School Links are really great. And
can you say those again, and I'll put those in here again?
Yeah, Overgrad, Score, SCOIR, School Links, and there's just other like online match tools that can help counselors have like give them a dashboard so that they can monitor how students are doing. Because again, the hard part is, how do you monitor from afar? And it's not easy. And so anything that you can do to move that along a little bit quicker, even though you're not going to get that personal touch, is really important. But again, basic Google form. Easy. Students can fill it out, and you get an Excel sheet, and then you get to see, oh, this person's thinking about this school. You can put more than one option for they're choosing between 2 to 3 schools. And then it's side by side on an Excel sheet. And then you, as the counselor or the school leader, know who to reach out to and who needs that support from you.
That's really good. So I heard a Google form, and you know, some folks may be trying to figure out a system. So that sounds like a pretty straightforward system. How do you get students to engage, right? Because I think that that's a real thing. And then someone else, I just want to name a few things. Someone said they will be having a college week with virtual college tours. So I'd love to come back to that one. That's a really great one. And then they also said our school will be having a virtual high school panel for their middle schoolers. So it sounds like they're also kind of like getting both the high school and middle schoolers. So I want to pin that one about the panel, the virtual college tour, excuse me.
Yeah. So the one good thing that's happening right now is that colleges are being innovative in a way that we've been asking them to be for years. No offense to anybody who's in higher ed.
No, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
So they've had to cancel their visits, cancel their travel schedules. And so a lot of them are doing virtual meetings with students, virtual presentations for students. There are virtual college tours that students are able to do right now, which is really great. I love the idea of a college week. Actually, one of the districts I'm working with, it's so funny. I don't know like what I'm allowed to say or not and what they would care, I would say, but one of the very large districts that I work with, they're doing a college access week at the end of the school year for their juniors. And they're actually doing a whole week of activities and webinars and chats with students, so they can get their college list together and get really excited about their application season coming up, and be prepared. And I think for right now, you could also do something like that for seniors too. I think the most important part, truly the most important part right now, I'm telling you, it's April 24th, is for counselors to know where students are going and to be able to help guide them through that process. Whatever you need to do to make that happen, make it happen, right? So again, if it's using one of those tools that I just mentioned, if you are able to follow up with every student, because here is the issue. Right now, imagine you're a senior, you're thinking about going away to school, you have all your letters. It's exciting. And then think about the fact that you don't have that counselor to go to walk you through how to read your financial aid letter. You're worried about maybe finances because it's such a crazy time right now. It might be hard for your family right now. And so you're not sure what to do. There are students who, when they are in school, want to make college choices that may not be best for them. So this is even tougher for them, right? Yeah. And so imagine, so the tough part now is a student's going to have their, I don't like to call them safety. We call them likely schools. So a student's going to have their likely schools, right? Where the graduation rate might be a little bit lower. It might be a lot easier to get into, but it might have, say, a 25% graduation rate for underrepresented students, okay?
Yeah.
That's like their likely school. But then hopefully if they had a really beautiful balanced list, which I always advocate for, they also had these really great reach schools or target schools on their list where the graduation rate might be as high as 80%. Florida State regularly rocks an 80% graduation rate for underrepresented students, right? So you have a student who
I like that you mentioned that, by the way, for underrepresented.
Yeah, just kind of remind everybody.
That's why I love FSU. You know, I am a Georgia Bulldog fan, you know.
So
but
you have
I rock with FSU.
So a student has these two options, and let's talk about Miami, right? A student's, I don't want to be specific about schools, but say there's like a local school and there's Florida State. A student might right now decide to go to that local school with a really low graduation rate instead of going
when
to
you
that
say
school,
you mean a college?
College, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Instead of, lots of no's in here, instead of going to that school with a higher graduation rate. And then what ends up happening is they very quickly made a decision that might very well determine what their path is going to be like in college and career forever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's my biggest fear right now, is that a lot of students are going to make those decisions and then ends up at a school where they might fail out, or it may not be a great fit because they don't have someone helping them figure it out. And so right now, over these next few weeks, which actually, in case anybody doesn't know, a lot of schools are actually changing their day to June 1st. Normally you have to commit on May 1st, but many colleges are now shifting to June 1st because of COVID. So, so you have now like a month and a half or so. That is the most important thing any school can do right now. Like if I was in a school right now, I was like, man, I really want to work with my juniors. It's so important. My priority would be getting our seniors to the best schools they possibly can go to.
Wow. So I want to just highlight a few points for those of you coming in. And by the way, there seems to be quite a few FSU fans. I see a few go-nos. Rashid is on here as well. He said the transition process is imperative. I pinned a question here, but let me name this. And this is something that so many people educators are not aware of, and it's these graduation rates. It is so those percentages are critical, especially when you're serving a community that's underrepresented, right? So minorities, students of color, and I really appreciate you bringing to light that these decisions, we need to also be considering those graduation rates. Both students need to be considering that, and that needs to be a conversation with every high school counselor. I also love the language that you use, and it was not you use the word likely school instead of was it safety school? Okay, yeah. So your likely school versus safety school. So I appreciated that as well. There's a question here that says, okay, FSU, we hear you. Are there any bulldogs in the house? Any dogs? So it says, how are you doing your academic signing days?
Oh yeah, another. It's interesting. I feel like I'm going to credit the beautiful Michelle and talented Michelle Obama, because a lot of schools have been doing decision days for a while, but now almost everyone is doing decision day. And I feel like, she made this really big move to say, like, let's represent, let's get excited, let's wear college shirts. This is so exciting. And so almost every school that I work with, district and charter, they all are doing signing days every year. This year it's going to be really different. One of the best ideas I've seen, so kids are really into TikTok.
Into what? TikTok? Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So some schools are having students make a TikTok video of them in their college shirt of the school or a hat of the school that they're going to. And then the school's going to make a video for them with all of their different TikToks, with music and stuff to kind of announce where they're going.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
Another
Okay.
good idea that I saw that was really sweet. Bye, Robin. Another idea that I saw that was really sweet was they're going to do like a big Zoom call, and on the call, every student, it's going to be like, all right, Kaycee, it's your turn. All right, everyone. Hey, I'm Kaycee. I'm super excited. I've decided to attend such and such, right? And then put on like their hat or their shirt or whatever, to represent the school that they're going to. Because a lot of schools, what they've been doing is some type of draft day announcement style.
Yeah.
I actually think that's the one thing that you don't that doesn't lose its essence during this time, because I think doing that online or making a video is also really fun and something that a lot of students can see. Because again, for any school leaders on here, the number one reason I love signing days, yes, it's really fun for students, but I love that younger students can see it, right? Because that's your opportunity to be able to show 9th graders, 10th graders, 11th graders, look at these older students going away to college. Oh, one of my former students is on here.
You're also, Kaycee, I just want to name, you're also, like, by doing that, it's not just not 9th, 10th, 11th, it's also middle schoolers and elementary schools in our communities too. A lot of first generations who like this, they're going to see these videos and they're going to be like, what's that? Oh, that college, what is that? And it's going to create a buzz, and I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, one of the schools where I used to work, we didn't have a big enough auditorium actually to fit the entire school. New York. So we had we could only invite like the juniors, but this is an opportunity, I think, for a school to invite every single person. You can have parents tune in, and so I think it is actually the one thing with COVID-19 that could actually be bigger and better. And instead of kind of mourning the idea that you can't have a traditional one, I think putting the resources into doing a bunch of PR and creating a lot of hype around doing a really cool signing day would actually be the better bet.
Yeah. So we have some really good questions coming up. And by the way, people are saying great ideas. Younger scholars do get inspired. That's a dope part about signing day. It really is. It's such a special, I love signing day. Like, it just brings it all like full circle for me. So there's the question here. How much are you all focusing on educating students on the cost of schools, going back to colleges? I know so many people who went to their dream school but are now drowning in debt, or better yet, they also they end up dropping out of debt.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, excuse me, dropping out of school because of debt.
Yeah, so this is Kaycee speaking, not of any organization. I want to be clear that this is like my view.
We got you.
Because every organization, everybody has a different view on this. I work with some districts that are like, we don't want students to take out any debt. And actually, the media and people and families and everyone has done a really great job of scaring the crap out of students when it comes to money. To be honest with you, I would say most students are more cautious than you would even imagine when it comes to taking out a lot of money. The problem is, and where that kind of backfires sometimes, is students will then end up going to a school, again, with a really low graduation rate, like I was describing, where they will accumulate maybe little to no debt, but then may not graduate.
Yeah.
And so I think the most important thing is finding like the happy medium between those. So finding a school that has a high graduation rate, but a school that also is affordable. I don't believe in students taking out like an insane amount of debt every year, but there is a reasonable amount of money to take out if it means that you're going to go to a school where you're going to be likely to graduate and be happy and have a sense of belonging and all these things that are going to help you to persist, right? Because there's no point in not spending any money to go to college, but then going to a school where you won't have a network when you graduate, where you won't get a strong first job, and where you won't succeed. And so it's a hard question to answer, because I can't say, oh, 6,000 a year max, that sounds good. Everybody has like a different situation.
Right.
But I think it is so critical that people pay close attention to, will I be likely to graduate from this school?
I love that.
Because if not, it doesn't matter how much you are or aren't taking out.
I feel like we really, and we're going to start wrapping up here. We really need to bring this home with our communities. Like right now, I feel like the key word is persistence. So what does that mean for guidance counselors? Guidance counselors, you're looking at the schools that your students want to go. What is the best match, and where are they likely to persist so that they can actually, graduate? There are a lot of students, more students that ends up going to a 2-year college that sometimes get caught up in the graduate. When you're around people who are likely to graduate, you will likely graduate. When you're around other people who are not really even talking about graduating, they're talking about all the external distractors, you're likely to drop out, or to end up working to meet your family's needs, or to do whatever you need to do. And so I just love this idea of like persistence, and like college and high school counselors doing the work. Someone did ask here, while we are in COVID-19, it would seem that counselors are not available, but are counselors really equipped to advise students anyways?
Yeah. So very quickly to what you just said, and then to that question, here is the thing I always drive home to everyone that I can possibly say this to. I think people, or schools oftentimes, and districts oftentimes, believe that they have no control over what happens for students once they graduate. But that's not true. And actually, this college access piece is your best bet for making sure that the students that you love and that you adore for those 4 years in high school are actually going to be able to, as you said, persist through college. Right. And oftentimes, I think, thinking about where students are going, like that is something we have control over. That's something that we can, work on right now as schools. Like that's something that counselors can work on, something that a school leader can say, like, yes, we want all of our students to graduate 100%. Everybody says 100% of our students graduated from high school. Cool.
And then what?
But where are they going?
Right, exactly.
Right? Like, where are they going? Because these rates of graduation in 6 years for Black students in particular, it's barely going up over decades for Black students. The Latinx number is going up. And so school leaders and districts have to start being accountable and feeling accountable for where we're sending our students. Hey, Adrian. And I really want to drive that part home, because when I'm going to just say this, and I know it's going to sound terrible, but how we love on our students so much when they're in the building, but I really feel like true love of our students and like really showing how much we care about them is thinking about their whole life. Like, what does that look like long term for them, not just when they're in front of us?
Not just like dumping them once they leave your school too, right? Like for some people it's like, oh, once they leave our school, good luck. But it's really about, how am I really setting up this student for what's their life trajectory gonna look like as a result of the work that we've done, and like really wholeheartedly being committed to that. And I love that you brought that up. Rashid said people forget about them when they leave us. Yeah.
So yeah, I know you said we have to wrap, so I can give you like a answer to that question there / wrap if you want, or is there a question you want to know, or
me or them?
No,
I think if we can just touch on those points and just kind of like wrap up, anything that you want to leave us with? I think you've definitely brought up so many important points. And for the people who are coming in late, maybe just like highlight those key things that all of us should be walking away and thinking about in this pandemic right now, and how it's going to affect the future.
Yeah. So to go into that last question about if our counselors available, many are, but kind of like where I started with this, I think it's up to districts and it's up to school leaders to figure out how counselors are using their time right now.
Yeah.
I know that it is tempting to say, oh, counselor, like, we love you. We think you're great. You can be utilized for all these different things right now because we're having a hard time with virtual learning. But really, a counselor needs to be able to continue to do their job because this is a really important time for students and we don't want to leave them out there on their own. So I do agree with that counselors might seem unavailable, but they, just like everyone else, should be able to continue to do their job virtually and figure out ways to reach students through, like I said, technology is key here. And we talked about all the different like types of tools that they are using. And what I really want to leave y'all with is a website. So there's so much information coming in and out. I was nervous to come on to here today. And it's funny because if there's nothing I feel confident about, it's this. Like, this is my jam. College access is where I live, right?
That's right. That's why you're here.
But even I was nervous because the world we're living in is so crazy right now. And it's really hard to know what's happening, what the right information is, and we're just taking so much in. So there is a website. Oh, thank you. Y'all are so nice. So one website, NCAN, is National College Attainment Network. NCAN.org. I think it's .org. So
INCAN?
NCAN.org. And if you go to their resource roundup, they are updating it daily with so many amazing resources. It also touches on NCAN, like NCAN.org.
Oh, NCAN.
NCAN. Yep.
Oh
yeah. So
why don't you put it in when we're done? We'll put, someone.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, because my spell check is doing something different. Okay.
So I love them because they're not trying to earn money. I mean, someone, trying to like get money, get you signed up for things. Like, they're not trying to do any of that, right? So you go to ncan.org. They have a resource roundup. And with the resource roundup, the really cool thing is they're talking a lot about CARES Act, the money and the funding that's going out there, what students should be getting, what families should be getting right now. There is funding right now for students and for families for distance learning. They're just touching on everything. They have resources for DACA students, resources for counselors. And so if there's any one-stop shop, it's ncan.org right now.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
It's really helpful. It's where I go, kind of, to make sure I'm up to speed on everything. But it's changing every day. And also some schools are deciding if they're going to open in the fall, if they're going to do virtual learning in the fall, if they're going to have a January start. And so just staying on top of the latest news is really important, but that's one really great space to find it.
Wow, Kaycee, you have provided us with a wealth of knowledge. I think everyone in here can attest. Show some heart, show her some love. This was super
Thanks for joining, y'all.
This is obviously your lane. Thank you for blessing us. We'll be posting this. This will be up for the next 24 hours. We'll post it also on our YouTube page and send you the link to the video so that it may also bless so many others. So everyone have a blessed Friday. Thank you, Dr. Brock. Have a good